There's this like blackness behind the eyes, this darkness, this void that we can't really explain that terrifies us, especially when you are dissociated and depersonalizing, derealizing, and just kind of having your existential hyper awareness OCD combo. There's this awareness that, like, every time you're looking around at something, it's an illusion, like it's fake. You seem to view everything as just light. This is just my perspective that I'm sharing. And it's almost as if, like, behind all of this, there's the truth of, like, the void, that it's actually nothingness. Shunya. Shunya is the void. Shunyata is the Tibetan Buddhist sect of Tantra that kind of talks about Shunyata being ultimate truth of reality. There's kind of this little graphic I made about all these symptoms you may have and what they're really leading you towards, what the awakened state would be. It's just that we don't have the tools in the West to equip people to transition into that. But the thing I was saying about, like, everything is just light and it's fake, if you guys are aware of the holographic reality theory of the universe, I really feel like people's psyches at an unconscious level are tapping into that truth. They're tapping into the truth that this is Maya. But, like, we are not able to embody the truth. That's why I feel that we have less of a mental health problem. Yes, that's there, but let's be real. Sometimes some things get so intense, it's like not neurochemical, neurobiological, it's consciousness, it's experiential. And at the very least, if we can't understand that, we can at least work with it somatically to kind of transfer that cosmic knowledge through the body instead of having it kind of stuck only in the head. Okay, the reason I brought up Shunya and Purnam as known as two sides of the same coin is because with symptoms where you dissociate, you derealize, depersonalize, oftentimes you will believe that everything due to it being a lie, the truth is like a void, like it's an emptiness that you feel that's guttural. It feels like deep fear and suffering, and it's terrifying. But if you know that there is no way to actually hit the void, and let's say even if I'm telling you the truth, you can't believe me, well, then you're only believing a half truth. The full truth is that Burnham is the means by which nothingness would exist. There's no difference between the two. You will always come back. Life is real. You are real, and you belong here. Shiva is the destroyer of ego and illusion. Now, I want to say, like, throughout all of this stuff, Shiva knows me so well. Shivoham. I am also Shiva, so it's kind of, but it's nice to share it as if we're separate entities. But Shiva knows about what makes me tick. So without there being an actual reason to understand non-dual Shiva Tantra, he knew that I wasn't going to go about it. So I live in a predominantly white state, and there's a lot of people who culturally appropriate a lot my culture and belief system, spirituality and understanding, and make it gimmicky. And Shiva knew I would be so pissed at that I'd be like, you know what? How dare these people try to tell me about my stuff? I'm gonna figure it out on my own. Bro just knows how to mess with me. So not only is Shiva leading me via, like, messing with my ego, but also he is dissolving illusion at the same time. So it's so crazy because at this point, my big break was working at Microsoft. And you would think that that's the whole, I made it, I'm a software engineer, level 2, and I get to do this and I get to do that. And yet I felt so empty. That was the worst part. Like, I was a high performer in my other situations, and then I just turn into a lazy piece of crap without wanting to. Somatic therapy, hallucinations, like, crazy things that were going on. I mean, at the time it was difficult to actually work. And it was a difficult thing to explain. Like, haven't I made it? Now I can take care of my health and I have this money. Like, why am I suffering more now? Well, it's because my body finally has the space to really emerge. Yeah, I left my perfect on paper relationship behind because I swear I was about to enter a coma if I had stayed. Even this job is starting to do that for me. And I was like, no, 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 no. This is the thing that makes us money. This is how I'll survive. Once again, I knew nothing about anything outside of this realm, but all I knew was that working a corporate job was absolutely not for me. Shunya and Purnam are two sides of the same coin. So Shunya talking about nothingness and the void, bro, like, even if I'm saying the word nothing, nothing is a word. A word indicates object, object indicates form, form indicates boundary, boundary indicates limitation. So actually, we will never really know nothingness. I think just being aware that something like that is out there, but not even trying to think about it, just a feeling. And you know what's actually funny is we have to travel through something, right? Like you're listening to me on your phone, so you have to still go through something to understand nothing. Nothingness, the concept of zero philosophically is an insane thing to wrap our minds around. And the concept of wrap and around indicates that there's a thing to wrap. Like you just wouldn't be there to experience it. Nothing would be there. And at the same time, that's how pratitya samutpada is like the truth, a dependent origination. Nothing arises without being in relation to something else. And that's because if you have one thing, you have like the whole universe. That's sort of the idea. This is also even the idea of holographic reality, actually. No matter where you're at, like, you know, there's information encoded on a 2D surface. You have like light that like helps project the 3D point, and no matter where you're at in the hologram, you get like a vantage point of the rest of the image. This was around the time too that I started getting interested in cold plunging, saunaing, and all that kind of stuff. And cold plunges are pretty terrifying in the beginning, but you learn to love them. I promise. It's not copium, it's the truth, man. You learn to love them. Close my eyes and like, oh, be like shivering. And then like I can see like a circle with shapes, like almost like a Mandelbrot set, and it's like pink, at least in my head, and it stabilizes. It's like every time I feel a shock in my body, I see that. It's almost like the cold is forcing stillness in my body so answers can come into my consciousness. There was one day I was doing a cold plunge and there was a mantra that actually called out to me. I'm gonna play what my head was playing. There's this idea that like sounds themselves are conscious, you know, divine sound, nada yoga. So they're calling to you, they're saying something. And it's not like that sound had come out of nowhere. Obviously, I have this playlist called Open Your Third Eye on Spotify, and this wasn't on there, but when it's like the radio, like you'll hear certain things and like, you know, skip. So that sound was already in my brain. And so when I heard that in the cold plunge, I was like, why did my consciousness stabilize and play that? So I went on this hunt to like hit next on the radio, bro, so I could find it. And it was the Purnam mantra. So then I learned the meaning behind it, and I would like to share it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This means everything is infinite. That is infinite. This is also infinite. From that, when you subtract from there, the thing you took away from that, that's infinite. And even when you subtract from infinity, only infinite remains. Om, peace, peace, peace. So my interpretation is we are discussing nested infinity, nature of reality. Nesting indicates an upper bound to it. You know, you have like boundaries underneath, but it's like, how can the concept of infinity have a boundary unless the boundary itself is actually an illusion and there's just infinity everywhere? This is totally dependent on y'all. The best day of my life was when I took LSD one time. That was September 10th, 2024. So if people want to hear like the story time of everything I learned on LSD, let me know. But the TLDR is entities that I met, which I think are actual external entities, and then the other things that I saw were just different versions of me from the future talking to me through different shapes and forms. They were basically telling me that my understanding of the nature of reality is like absolutely correct and that I should pursue it. And then I was like, well, what about money? Because once again, linear living, right? Like I know nothing about anything else. And they said, we'll take care of that. Don't worry. You just get started. And I was like, yeah, whatever. It was cool though. It was like a full body knowing, but I was like, this is too good to be true. In this path, there's no such thing. It is too good and it's too true. I was like, in Shunya, if you can find Purnam, then I asked the divine let's make a contract. I said, Cosmos, if I am meant to enter Shunya once I'm let go, give me a white feather. And then within 2 days, I found a single white feather on the ground, and it's still so precious to me to this day. So if I ever think about giving up, I remember that the cosmos told me I should enter Shunya. As time goes on, I become even more freaked out by living in a corporate reality, and I remember there being a day so vividly, it felt like I was going to get into a coma. If I had stayed at this job, even though it was perfect. Perfect on paper, yet again. Why is it not enough? I felt so guilty. And I'm not religious, but one day I was praying on my balcony and I was like crying because I was like, please fire me. I can't do this. This is terrible. I can't live like this anymore. This is a lie. I was sobbing, wailing. And the next day, my manager shares with me that in this next review we have coming up, because I was trying to quiet quit, and in this review that we have coming up, she's like, hey, like, it's looking a particular way, and, you know, just FYI. And I was like, oh my God, same day delivery on prayer, better than Amazon. $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, you know. Obviously, that wasn't, I guess what I wanted was also part of this plan. I have juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, and I don't always take my medication like I'm supposed to. But you can get something called, I think it's a seizure aura type of thing. Your brain will do some very fascinating things when it's not medicated, and it will have, like, you'll get like some visual, maybe some auditory hallucination. So this is what happened, okay? I'm like laying down, just chilling, totally sober. I'm just chilling. And then I hear a visual, like, it sounds like someone's actually yelling. I hear someone say, hey. And I was like, whoa. That's so crazy to think about, bro. And so I'm like, man, whatever. I like lay back down. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, like, close your eyes right now. Like, what do you even see, bro? Like, really think about it. There's just like some things there. But then for me, these things started taking the shape of a tessellation. Tessellation, just repeated patterns, you know, that kind of fit into each other. No gaps, no flaps, no overlap. Did you watch Cyber Chase? Cyber Chase, we're moving. That TV show, they had a whole episode and they made a little rhyme about it. So I saw a tessellation of elephants. And so it's this regal, like, saffron color, black boundary, like the elephants have eyeliner, and there's like, it's almost like a henna drawing. And this whole thing, this tessellation is spinning, spinning, spinning. And then it's zooming in at the same time. You know who was at the center? Ganesh. And he winked at me. And I was like, hey, yo! When I saw that, I was like, did this deity wink at me? And I was like, what is Ganesh? I'm like looking this up, you know. Ganesh is often worshipped first in a puja to indicate auspicious new beginnings. And I was like, new beginnings? Oh, I got a new beginning, all right. That week I got fired. So people think once they lose a job, you got to hop on LeetCode, LinkedIn, and do all this and like look for a job. And for 2 weeks, I was just doing that and feeling miserable. I don't know. I'm gonna try something out for 30 days as a birthday gift to myself. I'm just gonna do whatever. No applying for jobs, whatever. I'm gonna find out the meaning of life and what I love, which since I was a little goo goo gaga type of baby, I liked the cosmos and demonic possession. I don't know, man. It's just who I was. Those are the two things I liked. And I was like, let me lock in real quick and get started on this process. November 2024 was month 1 of being in Shunya. And the deal was, if I fall in love with this after 30 days, I will never go back to the old world again. It's time for a new beginning. And I'm sure you can guess what happened from there.